حرزنا العجز للمنى حبرنا هو الماجد للعلا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على من تلقى القرآن من لدن حكيم عليم، نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, welcome to our first gathering in Fiqhul Bukhari. This is the name of this circle, Fiqhul Bukhari. Yesterday was Shafil Bayan because it deals with Quran. So on Tuesdays we talk about Quran. Wednesdays inshallah is about Fiqh of Imam Al-Bukhari. And Thursdays will be the tricks of midday thieves, as we all know. Tamam? So today in Fiqhul Bukhari, in lesson 1, we would like to learn something about the Imam himself. Not really his bio, but just briefly about who Imam Al-Bukhari was. His real name Muhammad ibn Ismail ibn Ibrahim ibn al-Mughirati, well known as Imam Al-Bukhari. So Muhammad ibn Ismail ibn Ibrahim ibn al-Mughira al-Bukhari rahimahullah. This Imam is Jabalul Muhaddithina Qata'a. Conclusively, he was the mountain of hadith. He said, I memorized 100,000 hadith sahih, and I memorized 200,000 hadith da'if. And when they say hadith, they mean with isnad. So imagine having names of people, and not just names, knowing when they were born, where they were born, when they passed away, where they passed away, how many scholars each one learned from, where he passed away, who was his sheikh, who was what was the rihla that he did in seeking and acquiring knowledge. So when he said he memorized 100,000 hadith authentic, he is talking about serious talk. Rahimahullah. So this Imam said, I was blind when I was young. He lost his sight when he was young. And his mother used to cry and make dua. One day she finished her tahajjud. At the end of her qiyam al-layl, she just fell back again. She slept. In her sleep, while sleeping, she said, I saw like a light passing and waving, asking me to wake up and go to my child. I asked, what for? Then that light told me in my dream that Allah had answered your dua and we have given your son his sight back. She said, I woke up panicking, not knowing what's going on. I went and woke up my son Muhammad ibn Ismail. I asked him, son, are you okay? He said, Mom, I can see you now. The barakah of his mother's dua. And that's why I say, a student that does not have the barakah of his mother, especially the dua of his mother, forget it. He will never be knowledgeable. Even if he does acquire an ilm and knowledge, never will he be blessed in his ilm. So try your best, have good relationship with your parents, and ask them for dua. And insha'Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, their dua is answered if they make dua for you. Bi-idhnillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. So that was manqaba of Imam al-Bukhari's mother. Manqaba means a virtue. It's the singular form, its plural is manaqib. And that's why in books of hadith you see they say manaqib Abi Bakr, manaqib Umar, manaqib Ali, like Sahih Muslim you see at the end, manaqib kada, manaqib fulan, manaqib fulan. So when they say manaqib, they mean manqaba, and manqaba means somebody's virtue, the righteousness, the good deeds of that person. So that was manqaba min manaqibi al-Bukhari rahimahullah. So you can see where the blessing came from. I ask Allah that each and every one of us gets the barakah of his parents' dua. So Imam al-Bukhari radiyallahu an, by Allah's permission through his mother's dua, he gained his sight back. So was Imam al-Tirmidhi, Abu Isa. He was blind. But that's how he passed away. And many Imams were at the end of, towards the end of their lives, they lost their sight. One of them is Imam Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. And he used to say, إن أذهب الله من عيني نورهما ففي فؤادي وعقلي فيهما نور. If Allah had taken my sight, that's just from my eyes. But in memory, I remain sharp and the heart remains connected. And then he said, long abiyat. We do not want to digress from today's topic. So Imam al-Bukhari, I only mentioned this so that I can share with my brothers and all of us as students of ilm and knowledge to really have good relationship with our parents. And that helps in hifz and in fahm. Bi-idhnillahi tabarak wa ta'ala. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, in his sahih, he collected over 4,000 hadith. But with mu'allaqat and other statements of Sahaba and Tabi'een is closer to 9,000. One man by himself. So to them, when they say hafiz, it means hafiz of hadith, because it requires longer time than being hafiz of Quran. And that's why you see they spent longer time in seeking ilm and knowledge. It took him 16 years to compile that book, Sahih al-Jami' or Al-Jami' al-Sahih. He named the book Al-Jami' al-Sahih, meaning the book that compiles authentic hadith. And he has conditions of accepting hadith. So imagine, he said, before I include hadith in my Sahih, in my book, the hadith must be authentic. And also I have to meet that Imam one-on-one, personally. So if Imam al-Bukhari heard that Imam Fulan is thiqa, is authentic and is accurate in his memorization and he is trustworthy, Imam al-Bukhari will never take his hadith until he travels to that Imam. Meet him personally, even if he is at the end of the world. That's what is called rihla, traveling. And they used to travel, some of them used to travel from Sham to Medina for a hadith, some from Medina to Sham to Abid Darda for one hadith. All of this is mentioned by Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali in his book, Sharh Hadith. He had a risala, he explained the hadith where Prophet ﷺ talked about فضل العلم. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. Explained the hadith. He mentioned that some Sahaba traveled from Medina to Abi Darda because they heard he had a hadith that he collected from Prophet that they did not have, even though they met him sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Imam Ibn Rajab aqaba ba'da dhalik, he explained after that, he said, whosoever cares about his deen more than his dunya, that journey is nothing. That's what Ibn Rajab said. Whoever cares about his or her religion, journey to them is what? Is nothing. But look at us today. If you travel maybe from here to Dallas or from here to Houston, or a person travels for a conference from here to New York, he tells the Sheikh, come on man, you need to make dua for me. I spent $700 on ticket, and that's from Delta Airline, and you know how expensive Delta Airline ticket is, and that was actually first class, so that I can ponder and cogitate over the hadith that you gave me. And also, in first class, I didn't drink anything because I want to be like Imam al-Nawawi. Here I am, Sheikh. Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah, when in his life, even an apple to Imam al-Nawawi is waste of time. Eating apple. Like they have that young kid stuff, Johnny eating apple, no mama, that thing. Telling lies, no papa, right? Imam Nawawi told him eating an apple is what? It's waste of time. So fruit to Imam Nawawi is no. He said, because that will cause me to be lazy. And when it comes to the deen, I want to remain sharp. He passed away at the age, at 42, and that's what he left for the world as a legacy. Something that even if you give a person 1,000 years, nearly impossible to have achieved. Imam did it. passed away that age. We ask Allah to have mercy on him. And it's really disrespectful sometimes. You see, Imam Nawawi, even in his Sharh of Sahih Muslim, he brought some Asha'ira stuff. And come on, Aki, you only spent 80 years in university talking disrespectfully about the Imam like that. Because some of us, when we get some low bachelors from here and there, we think like we're super. Being disrespectful to these great Imams. And the sad part is that he's even sitting down eating couscous or having some good time with banana or eating some yogurt from Food Lion and talking about the Imam who never even, just an apple to him is waste of time. Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah, he didn't get married. He said because that will take much of his time to serve in the deen. I didn't say don't do it. I'm just telling you. just saying what Imam did. So Imam al-Bukhari, how long did he spend compiling that book? 16 years. And he said, I never ever in my life collect a hadith to place it in my Sahih in Jami'. I make 2 raka'at of istikhara first, asking Allah if this is authentic to leave it. If not, allow my heart to divert from it so I do not include it in my book. So how many Salat al-Istikhara have we made in our lives? Some only one day getting married. Some only one day getting a job. And not even a job. Maybe sometimes some of the requirements they don't have. So they say, oh Allah, I'm coming to your door for istikhara. But each hadith, istikhara. These are the individuals that we need to educate our families about. They're the role models we're talking about. Not Janet Jackson or Michael Jackson or 50 Cent or 75 Cent or Snoop Dogg or Puff Diddy or all them guys. They're confused. Or Peter Tosh. Come on, man, taking Peter Tosh as your role model. Who smokes weed from Fajr to Isha? And talking about I can go to sleep without listening to Benny Wailer. That's subhanallah, musibah hadihi. This is musibah for the deen. Why? Because if we do not educate them about these individuals, those role models that Allah reserved their names till today, who passed away since 240 or 42 rahimahullah wa radiyallahu an till today. We mention Bukhari in our midst more than we mention even our own fathers, more than we mention our own names. This is mahabbah of Allah to the person. And A'imma, they went like that. So let's try our best. The notes we taken, we get home, son, let's share with you somebody. Who? Today we have this. Honey, let's talk about the Imam for a minute. Not honey, I need food. The only time he calls her honey is when he's hungry. Or she calls him honey because she needs to go to mercies, where there's no mercy. You see? So let's try our best to educate our families about a'immatul. That's why they are called a'lam. A'lamul huda. We ask Allah to have mercy on them and forgive them and allow us to see them on the day of Qiyamah. So 16 years compiling Sahih what? Al-Jami' rahimahullah. And Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani spent 37 years explaining that work. Twice as that, explaining Sahih al-Jami'. And just the introduction to the book, it's like, the book, the explanation of the interpretation of Quran by Abdullah Yusuf Ali with his commentary, not just the translation, the one that he had his own, he included his commentary over the ayat. You know how thick it is. You know the one I'm referring to. The introduction to Sahih al-Bukhari by Ibn Rajab is that thick. By Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. It's called Hadyu Sari. The explanation is called Fath al-Bari, but the explanation of the book itself is what? Fath al-Bari. But the introduction is called Hadyu Sari. See? And a Sari is the person traveling at night. It's like the guide of a night rider. Not the night rider of 21st century. Like true night riders. Those who guide even you know, the commander-in-chief. Y'all remember our ex-president, former president George Bush? He came from, Air Force One chopper. He waving. He saying, "I'm the." What did he say? Commander-in-chief. And he didn't look. He missed a step. A commander-in-chief now is going to sujood by force. Come on. So that was, mashallah. So let's try our best. So Hadith Sari is that thick by Imam Ibn Hajar rahimahullah. How long? How many years? 37. So if a person comes and disrespects someone like that because he heard that some scholars said that somewhere in his book he mentioned something, and then you be disrespectful to somebody like that, you're not being honest. See, so that was the Imam. So back to Imam al-Bukhari himself, rahimahullah. We don't want to turn this to be his bio, rahimahullah wa radiyallahu an. What we want to learn is the fiqh of Bukhari. Usually when we open that book, what we really care about is the ahadith, because he compiled the authentic ahadith, sah? So we just go straight to the ahadith, collect the ahadith. But if you really want to know how Imam al-Bukhari really compiled fiqh in his sahih, look at the introduction of each hadith. How he used to introduce hadith. And that's why scholars, yarhamukallah, scholars used to say, وَفِقْهُ الْبُخَارِيِّ فِي تَرَاجِمِهِ وَفِقْهُ الْبُخَارِيِّ فِي تَرَاجِمِهِ. Meaning, the fiqh of Imam al-Bukhari is hidden in his intro. The way he introduces hadith. And this is how he put his introductions. Rahimahullah. What he will say is like, when you are asked about this in the deen, this hadith is the answer for that. Or this statement is answer to that question. That's how he introduced. So each hadith of the 4,000 or up to 9 with different asanid, mu'allaqat and others, each has an introduction. In that introduction, Imam al-Bukhari, that's where his fiqh lies, radiyallahu anhu. وَفِقْهُ الْبُخَارِيِّ فِي تَرَاجِمِهِ. So the first tarjama of Imam al-Bukhari in Sahih, and that's why when we mention, we will just go to the hadith quickly, because we're not really explaining. We want to get the fiqh out of it. And there's nothing, scarcely nothing in the deen but Imam al-Bukhari had included in that book, rahimahullah. He talks about ahkam of this deen from A to Z. So if a brother wants to know the deen, and yarhamukallah, and does not really understand books of ahadith, books of fiqh, Bukhari will help if you really have someone to expound the introduction of the Imam, bi'idhnillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. So the first chapter is Kitabul Wahi. Kitabu Wahi. And look how ingenious this Imam was. He said Kitabul Wahi. This deen is about what? Quran and Sunnah. And what is Quran and Sunnah? Wahi. That means to succeed in this religion and in your personal life, what's supposed to govern everything that you do should be Wahi. So Kitabul Wahi, I'm giving it to you. Look how smart that person was. You open different books, you see different introductions and different kutub. Kitabu kada, muqaddima kada. But Imam, at the very beginning, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, because of the hadith that if you begin something that is meaningful, start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, so you started with it. And also because Allah started Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim when it comes to Quran. And also Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, whenever he would write a letter to heads of states and kings, he used to say Bismillah Rahman Rahim min Muhammad. So before he even begins with his name, he used to start with Bismillah. So Imam al-Bukhari, imtithalan lil Quran wa imtithalan biqawli Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa siratihi wa adatihi, bada'a bi Bismillah. So he started Bismillah Rahman Rahim, and then he said Kitabul Wahi, the book of revelation. Ya salam. Now in the Bible, that's the first book, isn't it? But is that the same as this one? In the beginning, God created light, and the light, the darkness. Kalam kullu kalam tawil. The first book in the Old Testament. From Old Testament, in Old Testament, from the book of Genesis to the book of Malachi, Genesis all the way to Malachi, or from Matthew all the way to Revelation, the last book. In the New Testament, it's not even near one hadith that he put in here. Rahimahullah. Kitab al-Wahi, the book of Wahi. And then he said, وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ جَلَّ ذِكْرُ. Ya salam. I want you to follow here, just be attentive here. Listen to what I'm saying. وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ جَلَّ ذِكْرُ. What caused قَوْلُ to be قَوْلِ instead of وَقَوْلُ? Because it's the beginning. He didn't say وَقَوْلُ. He said وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ جَلَّ ذِكْرُ. It's like that statement وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ and the statement of Allah is actually a continuation of Kitabul Wahyi, ay Kitabul Wahyi wa Qawlillah. So it's connected. It's connected. Tamam? It's connected. So basically, I told you Kitabul Wahi. I'm not just saying it. It's because this is what Allah said. وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ جَلَّ ذِكْرُهُ and the statement of Allah Jalla Dhikru. So you can see, you can use this, especially those of you that give khutbah and talks and things like that. Sometimes have like change the flavor. You know, if you go to an ice cream truck, you don't get the same flavor for your child. You bring mango flavor today and tomorrow mango flavor. The day after, the son will say, Daddy, come on, shake. I need different flavor. And you know, the boys, America is about flavor, Aki. America is about flavor changer. Why do you, if you go to Sunoco gas station and you go to, do you have Wawa here? Do you have Wawa gas station? Okay, sorry. Then let me see some. Let me Google real quick. But y'all get 7-Eleven, right? See, if you go to 7-Eleven and some of the 7-Eleven that get some gas station in them, which of the two do you see children packed? When you go to those type of gas stations, Sunoco or 7-Eleven, if there's gas station in it.
Where there's ice cream.
Where there's ice cream, that's 7-Eleven. Tamam. But if it is Wawa, forget it. You know, Wawa is some East Coast joint, some East Coast stuff. Tamam? Some East Coast stuff. Tamam? So in Wawa, you see, even sometimes a person doesn't need, you know, he is like closer to half, but the wife will say, honey, we need some gas. Allah. It's not even half yet. So she's advising, honey, you know, I don't want us to get stuck. Let's pass by Wawa. Like, make sure you fill it up. It's actually for something else. So this is sahih li ghayrihi. This is not sahih li dhatihi. It's sahih li ghayrihi. You see? So the flavor of Imam al-Bukhari that I'm talking about, you're talking, قال الله تعالى يقول الله تبارك وتعالى or قال سبحانه وتعالى. You see, we get used to subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot, right? Change the flavor. Instead of subhanahu wa ta'ala, say جل ذكره. Imam al-Bukhari gave it to you. تمام? Or تعالى ذكره. Or جلت قدرته. Or جل ثناؤه. Change the flavor. So you can have like 6 of them that you prepare. And in your khutbah or in your presentation, whether it's for your family or it's good in the house to have mimbar too. Like seriously, in your house, it's good to have a mimbar. That when they see you stand on the mimbar, they know you're serious. You see? Because the kids, you know, sometimes when they have low freedom, they think, okay, it's case closed, I have it. So I said, mother, you stand on the mimbar, inna alhamdulillah, all should be quiet. Because in khutbah, man lagha fala jum'ata. In khutbah, when you talk, do you have khutbah? Your khutbah is gone. So let the kids know, when I stand on the mimbar here in the house, and I say, inna alhamdulillah, it's like this. You know that picture with that frowny face of the guy that did this? And having like, what they call it, the 16th president of this country, who was that? Abraham Lincoln. You remember Lincoln's hat? That guy is wearing that Lincoln hat, is doing this to the kids with the frown face. You know the face I'm referring to. Huh? Who was that? You see? So you have like, if let the kids know, I don't have that face. But when I stand on the mimbar in the house, remember that face. Inna alhamdulillah, case closed. So when you bring them to the masjid, when they hear Inna alhamdulillah on the Jum'ah, they will be what? Because they know if they don't listen to that khutbah, there is thani khutbah in the house. Tamam? So it's really good to maintain that bi'idhnillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala, just to change. If you have things like that, like 5, whenever you mention Allah's name, like you plug it. So it's not the same thing you're repeating over and over, and that changes the flavor. You see? So وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ جَلَّ ذِكْرُ, and the statement of Allah, the Most High, whose remembrance is high, subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ كَمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى نُوحٍ وَالنَّبِيِّينَ مِنْ بَعْدِ. Verily, we revealed unto you, as we revealed unto Nuh, meaning sent down upon him wahi, وَالنَّبِيِّينَ مِنْ بَعْدِ, and prophets that came after him. Ayah 163 of An-Nisa. So this is the ayah that he started with, his book, Al-Wahi. Inna awhayna ilayk. So always when you have a title, make sure the first statement that will come out of your mouth will be from Allah. And it's part of a person's prudence and wise or wisdom is whenever you begin like a talk, don't just start with some philosophical statement or like some Joe Steele movement, my father, my dad. No, just get some ayah. And Allah will help to pave the rest of it for you because you brought him first. But not to just grab microphone and start talking some talk and you're trying to pull some ayah. The ayah will even skip because you didn't bring it. So see Bukhari, even though it's the book of hadith, but what did they begin with? Quran. So Quran is first. You see how he makes his tarajim. وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ جَلَّ ذِكْرُ إِنَّا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ. Why did he mention why did he bring this ayah that talks about Prophet Nuh? Though we know the first prophet was who? Adam. Scholars try to explain this. Why Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam? They said because that was the first, some scholars said he was the first messenger giving a tashri' legislation to his people. Meaning to the entire world, like the people of his time. But Adam was only to his people because they're the first what? They're the first people on earth at that time. Very few of them. Sah? Very few. It's just like Christopher Columbus when he arrived and met the native Indians, Apache and all them guys. And he said he discovered. Come on, guy. How can you discover people already having a good time? You're talking about you discover some. This guy a criminal, Aki. If someone comes to your house and he say, I'm just passing by and I discovered this house. And you just sitting in the house. He's telling you he discovered your house, so get out. What will you do? What will you do? I don't think you will. You may even think calling 911 is waste of time. Maybe you can get some Sanchin Dachi stance on him and give him, some Yip Man and Bruce Lee with Van Damme's kick. You see, but if he's stronger than you, what else do you have? It's going to be nothing but the journey of tears, just like what Andrew Jackson did. So this is what happened with the Imam's book at the very beginning, rahimahullah. And they said the reason why Nuh came first, because he was the first messenger whose people were punished by Allah. Because Adam in Quran, Allah did not tell us that he punished his people. The only thing we got in Quran is that he ate the apple and things happen in the story in Surah Al-A'raf. Sah? But in story of Prophet Nuh, the Tufan, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ فَلَبِثَ فِيهِمْ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ إِلَّا 50 عَامًا فَأَخَذَهُمْ الطوفان وهم ظالمون. In Surah Ankabin or Ankabut. And in Surah Al-Qamar, وَفَجَّرْنَا الْأَرْضَ عُيُونًا فَالْتَقَى الْمَاءُ عَلَى أَمْرٍ قَدْ قُدِرَ. And in Surah Hud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him to take his own family in the ark and travel, right? وَأَهْلَكَ إِلَّا مَنْ سَبَقَ عَلَيْهِ الْقَوْلُ وَمَنْ آمَنَ وَمَا آمَنَ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. So he was the first messenger whose people were what? Punished. That's why إِنَّا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ كَمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى نُوحٍ instead of having Adam. So this is only the tarjama of Bukhari. How much did we get out of that tarjama? Now this is just نقطة من يم, meaning it's just a drop of ocean. وقرطعة من ينبوع, and it's just like a small cup that you get water from well. So inshallah, this will be for today. Please remember to share this with your family. Mothers, share with your children, and fathers with your children, and the brothers, share with your younger siblings. Even though I know sometimes siblings, they exchange punches a lot of times. And don't get together, but just try to get together because, after a battle, at least there's a hug. At the end of 12 rounds, always they what? Always when they finish boxing, what do? Even if you get knocked out, at least you're going to come and get some help, right? Even the Holyfield, he has a nice show with Tyson, telling Tyson, when you took portion of this one, actually you started with this one. Tyson said, really? I thought it was only this one. And then they shook hands in front of, Oprah Winfrey. Tamam? So if even battle rappers, T-Top and Ram Nitty, they will hug. Come on, Akhi, just get some hug. Give some love. In Philly, we say give some love. The city of brotherly love that turned into equally hate. Remain blessed. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
حرزنا الحرز للمنى حبرنا هو الماجد للولا